Hey everyone, my name is Amy Castles, and we have my partner in crime here tonight, Sarah Kellogg. And Sarah is going to be here. Sarah's here for our Testimony Tuesday, which is a really exciting night because we get to hear these amazing testimonies come across and just wonderful stories. So Sarah has a wonderful story. And Sarah, who are you? What do you do? What are you here for? Tell us about yourself.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. My name is Sarah Kellogg. I am a mother of two, wife of my wonderful husband, Chad. I have two boys. I'm an oiler, I'm an ULA life coach, and I'm a nurse. So I'm a busy lady. But I also have had a diagnosis of psoriatic arthritis, and that's what we're here to talk about tonight.
Well, first off, when did you get this diagnosis? How long has it been?
So as I was preparing for this, I actually got diagnosed in, I believe it was 2001, so almost 20 years ago. But as we look back, the symptoms started in childhood. And that's crazy to think about. I live in rural Southeast Missouri, and I had knee problems. I popped my ankles all the time as a child. And my biggest fear, this sounds crazy, but we have tornadoes here, right? We're in Tornado Alley. And my biggest fear was to get trapped by stuff in a tornado and not be able to pop my ankles. Like, that's not natural, right? That's not a normal 8, 9, 10-year-old fear. But that's how much I popped my ankles out of just discomfort. I had shoulder problems, back problems. I've gone through, I can't tell you how much physical therapy over the years, and they never really could peg what it was. And then in 2001, my second toe swelled up, probably almost as big around as this 10 ml roller bottle. And that is called a sausage digit. And it literally looked like a Vienna sausage. And after some MRIs and extensive testing and working with a podiatrist, that's when I got my initial diagnosis. But I didn't start real treatment until 2013, 12 years later. Which is crazy to think about.
So through your time in medical school, being a nurse, working in the hospitals, you're working in the hospitals or in a doctor's office?
Hospital.
In the hospital, yeah. Okay. Did you ever self-diagnose yourself? What took you from 2001 to 2013 of actually starting to make those what took you so long, basically?
Right. So I became a nurse I got diagnosed in 2001, and I became a nurse in 2003. And what is really crazy is I never put it together, and none of my coworkers put it together. None of my senior nurses put it together. None of the doctors that I work with put it together, because on the outside, I don't look like there's anything wrong. And I'm a type A. For those of you in the oily business, I am a red and a green. I'm a go, go, go. Let's get it done, make it happen kind of person. So I don't complain about my discomfort, but I've also always had it and didn't realize that it wasn't normal. I didn't realize the way I felt wasn't how other people felt. I didn't realize that other people's feet didn't get tingly after so long. I mean, I knew like being up on my feet and all that working, like that was strenuous, taking care of patients, but I didn't realize that my other coworkers weren't that same exhausted as I was. I was taking an over-the-counter NSAID, an anti-inflammatory. That was the prescription that the doctor gave me. So that's what I was doing. I thought I was doing what I needed to do. I had in childhood, I had psoriasis lesions, some different skincare problems related to that. And I have been treating those with creams and things like that. So for whatever reason, I don't know if it was a self-protection mechanism or what, I just didn't dive in and try to figure it out more, which is very atypical for me. And so then it was a nurse at a wellness check, and she said, "Sarah, what's wrong?" I said, "My shoulder's just killing me." And she's like, "I think you need to see an orthopedic, and I went to see an orthopedic, and they were testing me for fibromyalgia, and he's like, this is something else. So I ended up then getting into a rheumatologist, and then that's where the big drugs came in, the big treatments came in. That was in 2013.
Okay. First off, you know what? When I say what took you so long, I don't necessarily mean that as a bad thing. In fact, it's actually kind of great that you continued to move through and that you had that perseverance to just keep on moving, because I think that we can sometimes move so far where we ignore it to where you were actually still doing something about it. You were still doing something about it, but you weren't letting it pull you down in your life. And
right.
So it could have been to the point where you've manifested more, and now it's your excuse to stop. It's your excuse to quit moving. It's your excuse, I mean, I completely understand what that's like, because if I live with migraines. I have migraines constantly. So any day I could get one, but I don't want to live my life like that. I want to live my life as if tomorrow morning I'm going to wake up feeling perfect. And
right.
This is a story for another day, but I think that what you did was awesome, because you had 13 years or 12 years or whatever it was, where you were still moving forward. You were accomplishing things. So in 2013, you go get your diagnosis. What happened at that point? When did you start switching off those heavy medications? Because they gave you a lot of medications, right? And I'm assuming you had some side effects.
Let me just let you know that in 2013, things were bad. I was no longer able to keep pushing through. Actually, in 2011, I had a lumbar fusion. My back was fused. I had a birth defect that required that fusion. At that time, I also had ankylosing spondylosis at the base of my spine. Those are a lot of big words. Just everything was jacked up in my spine, right? And what can happen is that can naturally lock up your spine. So I had back problems. I have SI joint problems. And it was getting to the point where I couldn't do ADLs. So in the field, we call it ADLs. Those are activities of daily living. And that literally means emptying the dishwasher, getting clothes out of the washer and dryer. If I would go shop with my mom and try on shirts repeatedly, then my shoulder would lock up and I would just be about in tears. And after I got in with the rheumatologist and we did all the scans and testing, I'm actually positive for the gene HLA-B7. That is a genetic marker for psoriasis. And then the arthritis is in every joint in my body except for my left wrist and my left elbow. So it's everywhere. Since then, I've had my shoulder had to be redone. So in 2013, they put me on Remicade infusions. And I would drive to St. Louis, which is 2 hours away, every 8 weeks. The problem was at 6 weeks, it was wearing off and wasn't approved for 8 weeks. Then they put me on methotrexate in addition, which was a low dose chemo. Then in 2017, I started in oils in 2015, just getting my feet wet, didn't really know what was going on, didn't understand it all, was maybe like some of you, a little overwhelmed at first. We have all these different products. How do I know which one to use and where to put it? I highly recommend getting one of these reference guides.
This is the reference guide, Essential Oils Desk Reference. I really like to have books on hand because it seems like things are being scrubbed from the internet. It seems like you can't trust a lot that's out there. You know, some things have bogus information, some of it's good. So it's hard to decipher through what is good. I trust these books. They were written by Gary Young and many other doctors. And this is the Essential Oils Desk Reference. The way that you can use this book is that you can actually look up your particular oil, look up an essential oil, and then you can find out how to use the oils, of course, and all the history. But here's, for example, cumin. You can learn all about the cumin, the key constituents, the history, its ORAC value, ways to use it, And then, caution if it needs it, where you can find it, things like that. And then in the back, you can look up different things that you're trying to combat. So here is ADD, ADHD. Here is rheumatoid arthritis. So basically, there is a whole entire protocol on what you can do for rheumatoid arthritis. And it has everything from essential oils to supplements, just nutrients that you can do, lots of really cool stuff. So this book is really, really nice to have on hand. Before, when I started Essential Oils in 2010, we did not have the Facebook groups. In fact, I didn't have anybody to follow. There was nobody on social media talking about essential oils, teaching classes. There were no webinars, none of that. But I did have my reference guide, and the person who sponsored me actually bought it for me. I made a certain amount of orders, and she said, if you make a certain amount of orders, and then I'll just buy it for you. And I said, oh, I can do that. So I bought it, and then basically I would do is sit down with the notebook every night, and then I would just read through it and be like, oh, putting that on the list. Oh, and then just take notes on things that I really liked to learn.
All right. So in 2013, they put me on all this medication, and it wasn't working. And then in 2017, we had a big scare with my insurance, and they no longer covered the medication I was taking. So I was terrified because this medication costs $4,000 to $5,000 a month. It isn't cheap, and my insurance was covering it well, but then when it wasn't going to, how was I going to afford that? So I'm like, you know what? I have all these oils. I have all these supplements. Let me dig in and try to figure out what is going to work for me and how I can utilize these tools at my fingertips. And the first thing I did was I started using Copaiba, Vitality internally, and I would take 6 to 8 drops once or twice a day, honestly, depending on how I would remember to take it, right? I'm not good about regimenting things. I currently have a supplement planner. I call it a supplement planner because I'm down to only 2 prescriptions. I used to take 5 to 20 pills a day prescriptions, and then, but now I only take 2 prescriptions. So I started with the Copaiba. They did put me on Enbrel injections. The insurance ended up approving, or they didn't approve it, but I was able to get it at a discounted rate, and things worked out better that way. So then we started just looking more at different supplements, the different things that were available. And what I started doing was getting really regimented about drinking Ninja Red. So we know that works at the cellular level and helps your body so much. And I started taking Sulfurzyme. And I didn't notice the difference so much, but my girlfriends, my husband, my mom, everybody started going, you're doing more, you're moving more, you're starting to act more like you. And things just started to progress and get better. I had been at the point where I was almost bedridden some days. My husband would have to hold my hips for me to walk up the steps. There was just that much instability and weakness. I was doing therapies. I had done chiropractic care before my back surgery, but post-back surgery, chiropractic care is not very comfortable. And then I just started working more and more for different things, right? Working on my water intake, moving more, still working on that one. But there's a lot of different supplements and things that I have done. And then in 2019, when we got CBD, I started taking the CBD as well after talking to a cannabis specialist for about an hour, because I wanted to have a better idea of what to do and not just start taking it blindly. There's nothing wrong with grabbing some CBD and taking it. We recommend Nature's Ultra, of course, because it has the seed to seal promise. And we know that it meets a standard higher than organic, and we know what we're putting in our bodies. But I wanted to make sure how I was doing things. So I take a CBD tincture, so the liquid form sublingually under my tongue every night before bed. And sometimes I take it during the day as well. I use the CBD muscle rub on my joints when they get aggravated and irritated. I have gotten really good about being prophylactic. So meaning looking at things ahead of time. If I'm going to go, normally this time of year, we would be going to the fair. And at the fair, our favorite little fair, it's the best little fair in the land, as it's known as, is literally on the side of the hill, okay? Down close to the Mississippi River. It's on the side of a hill. It's very uneven. You walk through fields, because when it's not the weekend of the fair, they're literally fields. And that is hard on healthy bodies, much less arthritic bodies. So I would put Ortho-Ease or Orthosport on my feet before we went. I always have Deep Relief with me, always. This is great to apply pretty much on any joint anywhere, particularly my low back. And then also if I have some head discomfort, I use it there. And those are great things. Cool Azul pain cream is also something we have here. It's very funny because we ditched and switched stuff. So things that we used to have that were over-the-counter medications, over-the-counter topical applications, we just switched them out. So now we have Cool Azul pain cream. Now we have the massage oils, Ortho-Ease and Orthosport. I use the CBD. Now we have supplements, BLM and Agilese. I have not used them a whole lot because what I have, I feel like that's working well for me. But just like with oils, everybody's different. So what is going on in your body, you may need to try something different. I'm just talking about what has worked for me. I have found the less sugar I eat, the better I feel. The less carbs I eat, the better I feel. I'm not always great about that. Like, I'm just keeping it real. Like, that's the struggle bus for me at times. And the more I walk, but I have to be very careful. I have to realize, though my body, though my mind and my drive and my desire wants to go walk for 30 minutes straight without any issue, my body doesn't always handle that well. So learning to do things in increments and learning to do things slower and more consistently is more important than just running and getting it done.
Sarah,
that was a lot of information.
I think that's really good. I wrote some really great stuff down. So basically, you are living a lifestyle that is geared towards an anti-inflammatory lifestyle. And anti-inflammatory lifestyle is a body in motion stays in motion. Moving, walking, stretching as much as you can to a point where it's not going to throw you over the edge. In addition, you're eating a diet that is also anti-inflammatory. Things like sugar, the artificial flavors, colors, sweeteners, dyes, preservatives, those all induce inflammation. Things like corn, wheat, how are you on those? Do you try to avoid those or?
I go through phases, honestly, right? Like, so I actually did an elimination diet and like took out everything. But you have to do what is going to be sustainable for you, right? And that just wasn't really working for me. One of the reasons is chopping and cutting up things are hard. When you have arthritic hands, my grip is not where it used to be. Strength there isn't where it used to be. Like, I was peeling a potato last night to try to make some potato soup, and it goes flying across the kitchen because I can't hold on to it. So I have to be realistic for those types of things. So sometimes I start with bases of other products and then add a few things to it. But I think that, if you use your digestive enzymes, we take those, we use our pre and probiotics, that helps you to digest those foods better. So that is also beneficial. Now, I was at the point, I think the real breaking moment for me was my friends were going to go to a drive-in and take their kids. And the drive-in was like an hour and a half away. And then, the movie was going to last at least 2 hours. And then we were going to have to drive home another hour and a half. And I knew I physically could not sit that long, that I couldn't even take my kid to a drive-in. There was no physical exertion whatsoever. And I was like, I have to do something to change to have a better quality of life. It was showing on my face when I used to work at the hospital and I would show up at the hospital. My coworkers could tell today's not a good day as soon as I walked in the door, because this disease affects your sleep. For those of you who know me personally, you may see, if you're my Facebook friend, you may see I'm posting things sometimes at 3 or 4 in the morning. And I use our supplements. I use ImmuPro. I use Unwind. I have 3 boxes of Unwind showing up any day now. But your body can get so tired that it can't rest. So you have to realize those things too. And I struggle with it still, guys. Just because I'm better than I used to be doesn't mean that I am exactly where I need to be yet. Every day is different, just like with everyone else's life. We have different obstacles thrown in front of us. But I try to get back to what I know foundationally. And I know that since I started really using our Young Living products and switching the toxins, that was huge, Amy. Like, let me talk about that a second. So our toxic load has a massive effect on, I just saw your comment. Janice said, can you read Janice's comment in the chat, Amy?
Yeah, she says, I met you 2 years ago and you appear much more relaxed now and you look better. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and that's just over 2 years. Decreasing your toxic load has a huge effect. So we ditched and switched, and that sounds very cliche or catchy, but it's literally what we did. When I ran out of a shampoo, I replaced it with the Young Living shampoo. When I ran out of my toothpaste, I replaced it with the Thieves toothpaste. Laundry detergent, I got our laundry detergent. Household cleaner, I switched to Young Living's, and that replaced like every cleaner, right? And then because everything that we touch and we clean with, all those toxins build up, and that builds up in your body, and it gets at your cellular level. Everything that goes in our skin gets in our bloodstream. And that just makes it harder for our bodies to fight and do what they're supposed to do, to protect ourselves, to get homeostasis, which is the balance of your body. So I believe that had such a massive impact, which is the same story that Leah shared last week. Was her recovery from stroke was she feels getting so much faster because she got rid of toxins in her home. We're not perfect. Like there's still things that come in or go around or whatever. There's some things that my husband won't switch. That's his choice. But I feel like that was a huge factor for me. And when I took methotrexate, so methotrexate is a low-dose chemo is how I took it. 10 tablets on Friday nights because it would give me a methotrexate hangover, and which means I had a headache, I was sluggish, I needed a dark room and a quiet space. So basically I would take it on Friday night so I could work during the week. And then by Sunday evening, I started to feel like myself again, and then it was time to go back to work. And I lost half my hair. So I have a great photo somewhere. I can try to find it and put it on the Facebook Live with this, of 2 years ago, how my hair looked in the fall of 2018 and how my hair looked in the fall of 2019. And that is totally Ninja Red and Sulfurzyme. Totally Ninja Red and Sulfurzyme. And
did your hair come back better than it was before? Did your hair come back better than it was before?
I've always had really good hair, I'm not gonna lie, until half of it fell out. And then it's still fine. I feel like it's fine. It's finer than it used to be, and it's still not near as thick as it used to be. If either of you have seen pictures of Jack and his super thick hair, he gets that from me. That's how my hair was. But the new hair is coming in not gray. Okay, so up here, my hairline, I have some gray hair, but when I get new hair now, it's not gray. And I find that very interesting.
That would be the Sulfurzyme.
And it all goes back to, it all goes back to consistency too. So in 2017, I started experimenting with things, right? And I got more and more consistent. And by the fall of 2018, I got even more consistent and remembering and making sure I have these things on my order and ordering ahead. Right? If you have a product that you know you love and you need, order 2 bottles and always have one ahead. Always have one ahead. Okay? I'm kicking myself with that with InnuPro right now, but it'll be okay. Let's see what else.
You on that. Okay, well, this is a question I have, because we have a lot of people that come to us saying, okay, I've got a lot of issues. I've decided they hit that breaking point like you did. They go, 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 go. And eventually you're going to crash, right? And they got to go get help. So they go to their doctor, they get themselves set up on, whatever they need to. And many people go to absolutely wonderful doctors who say, okay, you've got to change up your lifestyle. See, a lot of people will not probe the doctors. The doctors are so, and as you know, this is what they told me, and I've had many tell me, we are used to people who just want a medication. So we don't even talk about lifestyle anymore because it's a moot point. People don't want to hear it. They just want the medication and then they want to leave the office. So these doctors are following suit. But there are so many doctors who are healthy, who live a healthy lifestyle themselves, and they would absolutely love to teach people to do the same. And when they get a patient in there who says, okay, thanks, doc, thanks for the medication. This will help me get back on my feet, get me out of bed, but I know I also don't want to be on it forever, and I'm ready to change my lifestyle. And the doctor says, great, get in touch with somebody who can help you change your lifestyle. That is where people like us come in, and we say, okay, we're ready to help you switch out those horrible toxic products and let's get you changed over. You have two ways of looking at this. We have someone like Leah who literally changed out the toxic products first. That was her first thing. She's on a very fixed income, so going through her whole supplement cabinet just wasn't an option, wasn't a possibility. She had to start with the least expensive things first, and that was switching out some of those chemical toxin cleaners and then diffusing some essential oils, taking out the candles. It was literally that. But for you started with the actual supplements. You started with the Copaiba, the sulfurzyme, and then eventually you added on the Ningxia Red, right? But at first you started with just the Copaiba. So you saw, even with not changing any part of your lifestyle, you saw a dramatic effect from all the things that you were doing just from adding in the supplements. And then later you started changing out your stuff, huh? It was a progression.
Right. And so what I did, and again, we don't diagnose or treat. I want that to be very clear. What I did, my personal story was I started taking the Copaiba, and then, so the NSAIDs are non-steroid anti-inflammatory drugs. That's what NSAID stands for. And if you look at them closely, it says to be taken for a short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Friends, I started these medications in 2001. The last day I took was June 30th of 2018. 17 years straight was on a medication that should have been taken for, it says 30 days. Okay, so I was like, maybe I'll start here. And I knew that Copaiba had very similar properties, and I thought, I'm going to try this. And if it works, awesome. If it doesn't, then I'll go back on the medication if needed or continue to progress further. You should not stop medications without talking to your physicians. We're not advocating for that. I'm sharing my story. I want that to be clear. And I did the Copaiba for a few months, and I don't even do that anymore because I feel like I've decreased so much of my toxic load, and became very, very regimented about the Ningxia Red. Okay, I can't express how the Ningxia Red and the sulfurzyme, if you are someone who is dealing with any arthritic symptoms of any kind, start there. I recommend it. Grab the Ningxia Red starter kit if you're not a member already. If you are a member, the cheapest way to buy Ningxia Red per ounce is on Essential Rewards, and it gets you the 2 free promos. It gets you 4 bottles and 30 packets. I was really blessed to have won Ningxia Red for a year at Dream 1000, so that really helped secure my Ningxia Red intake because we had it for free. But getting that Ningxia Red and the sulfurzyme, and the sulfurzyme says like take 2, let's talk about that for a second. So what is on the side of a supplement container is if you are in perfect health, right? It's to maintain, to manage where you're at. So you are in a state of imbalance, you may need more. I take 4 sulfurzyme every day, no matter what, before 2 in the morning. And the days of increased activity, I may pop 10 to 20 again. Can you, my understanding is I was a little frozen. Can you see me?
You're still frozen from a few minutes ago, but at least you look really cute in your frozen state. So there's that. But I did want to ask you, okay, now you just switched. Okay, so you're good. So you're taking sulfurzyme based on your activity level. So I've actually never heard of the recommendations that are on the back of a supplement bottle that is for a healthy person. So everybody has to adjust their dosage based on what their body needs. Is that right? That's what you're saying?
Right. That is my understanding, is that those are the maintenance doses, right? That's how supplements are made. They are made, whether they're Young Living or something else, supplements are made for you to be able to maintain where you're at. They're under the assumption, because, right, it'll tell you what percentage of vitamin C that is based upon the requirements set by the FDA or CDC, whoever sets it, I don't know. Let's see, here beside me I have Inner Defense, which I take every day to support my immune system. And it says serving size 1 soft gel, take 1 soft gel daily, AM, or take, it's very little print, or take 1 soft gel 3 to 5 times daily when needed. For best results, use Life 9 8 hours later. So I always take 1 every day. I used to just take them pre-2020, let me say it that way. I used to just take Inner Defense when I was traveling, or when there were outbreaks of other things going on in my community. In 2020, this is just our daily regimen for me now. Because I am immunocompromised, the shot that I still take wipes out my immune system. So I have been super isolated this year.
No, what is the shot called?
Enbrel. So Phil Mickelson, the golfer, that commercial, that's the medication I take.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I take a shot every week. Thankfully, I have good insurance because it costs $5,000 a month.
Oh my gosh.
It has to be refrigerated. It has to sit out on the counter 30 minutes before I take it. You have to plan your trips around it, right? You have to find a way to keep it cold. So sometimes my shot day varies based upon so I just do everything else that I can to support my immune system. Otherwise, I keep my frequency high. I use high frequency oils. One of my favorites is Higher Unity, because friends, when you don't feel good or you're limited by your physical abilities at times, it affects you mentally. And that night when I could not take my child to the drive-in movie, I put the note in the DVD player so I could just cry, right? I didn't care to watch a sappy movie. I just needed a reason to let the tears start releasing. So now that I have oils, I support my emotions through that. I have the Feelings Kit. I have different kits and oils to use. But Higher Unity is a high frequency oil. Rose, I have that. I use the oils in the Raindrop Kit. I have all of them in one bottle, and I put that up my spine every day. All those things just help support us.
I never
think about the Ninja.
Sorry, I never thought about using Higher Unity. I just got it out, and it smells so good. I just put it all just put it all on. So you're saying this has a high frequency, which is going to raise our energy, raise our mood, help us move towards positive emotions. Yeah.
Correct. So the higher your frequency, the healthier the healthier your body is. So that's what we want to do. So,
yeah, I don't think anybody's jumping around going, man, I am so depressed right now. So excited. Right. I'm just so depressed. Right. It just doesn't go. If you're depressed, your energy is down.
Right. And everybody around you feels that, right? Then you bring that to everyone around you. And with everything else going on in the world right now, it's easy to get in that funk anyway. So then when you have issues on top of what's everything else going on in the world, or you're isolated because you're immunocompromised, that risk for depressive moods, the blues, those things get higher. So I've just kind of been working harder on that to be more diligent. So that's why I put, I don't know, but this rollerball came from convention, and I put it in here with some jojoba oil, some coconut oil, and like 10 drops, because it's an expensive oil, one, but it also smells really good. And I'm so sorry that I keep freezing. I just live in the middle of nowhere.
I know.
And it happens.
Well, we'll talk about it's all black right now. We'll have to talk about a Wi-Fi booster. I'll give you some tips on that, because we can, like Andrea said, we can hear you. It's just that your face was freezing.
I'm literally right beside my router, so who knows?
Oh, geez. Well, I loved hearing your story. I learned quite a bit of stuff, and hearing stories like yours is just confirmation, it's motivation. For whatever is going on with you, it's manifested and come out with this type of arthritis. And for other people, it comes out in a different way. I know for me, it's migraines, which we're going to talk about next week. So everybody kind of has their thing. Not everybody, but a lot of people, they have something going on, and there's a common denominator. And that's, we need things. We need nutrients. We need things for our body to reduce the inflammation. We need things for our body to help support and help build a strong immune system. We need things in our body that are going to combat these everyday stressors that are constantly around us, physically, emotionally, chemically. They're everywhere, and everybody's bodies are different, and it's gonna manifest into a different thing for every person. Everyone's different. So you just never know how it's gonna come out. So thank you so much for sharing all this with us. And I think I have my new favorite oil, Higher Unity. I'm definitely keeping this on me, because it was just one of those oils on my shelf, and I haven't really paid much attention to it. So thank you. All right. And also, I'm just looking right here, and I'm looking at your supplements, by the way. And it looks like you have things that are your staples to help you with the inflammation constantly. It's going, the sulfurzyme, the Ningxia red, the CBD, these are the things that need to be your staples. And then you have your things such as your massage oils, Cool Azul pain cream, your deep relief, because just because you have these other things doesn't mean that it's necessarily going away. You still have it. You're just supporting it a lot better than being on 20 different medications. So during the times where you do have a flare-up, you have other things that you can use without having to turn to more chemicals. So I love that you keep those on hand, your deep relief, Cool Azul pain cream, and the massage oils. But then you also have things to help support your gut. And we know that we can't have a perfect diet. It just is not possible. So, I mean, for some it's possible, but maybe that's all that they do all day. But the probiotics and enzymes, they help break down that food, and that way your body can utilize the nutrients more. And then it looks like because of this issue, you have the sleep problems. Sleeping at night is a challenge. So you have healthy, effective alternatives than using just a sleeping pill to help you get your sleep. So, and then you're reducing the toxic load. I mean, you are hitting this from all angles. Great job.
Well, there's a couple things that I didn't mention. Power Gize. I take Power Gize and I take Super B. Those two help with energy. In the afternoons, if I feel a slump, particularly if I didn't rest well the night before, I'll drink a Zing or use a Nitro. Today I realized mid-morning, I was like, I just feel kind of off. I had not put anything in my diffuser. And I put Sacred Mountain in my diffuser, and it just, things were great. So anyway.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much. All right.
All right.
Everyone.
Sorry for the computer issues. Thank you.
So it was such great information. I don't even think anybody cared because it was that good. So thank you.
All right. Have a great night.